In our first story tonight, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia says Ghana will become a PayPal-compliant country by the second quarter of 2019, following its agreement with the international payment system a few weeks ago. The Vice President said this when he launched the first phase of the mobile number or mobile money interoperability system in Accra. He assured that with the current integration going on, the financial inclusion agenda by government will be achieved.
The international payment system has been operating as a platform for sending remittances to the Europe, US and other parts of the world. The return into Ghana of PayPal can be described as a dream come true for the government as it hopes to improve financial inclusion across the country in both formal and informal sectors. Speaking at the official launch of the mobile money interoperability system, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia disclosed that based on some discussions with the international company, they have agreed to enter Ghana's financial service industry by the second quarter of next year. This, he said, will enhance transparency in the mobile financial markets.
In this regard, I'm also happy to announce that Ghana has concluded discussions with PayPal, and Ghana will therefore, if all goes well, become one of the PayPal-compliant countries in 2 phases. According to the roadmap presented by PayPal, by the second half of 2019, which is next year, Ghanaian merchants should be able to receive payments for their goods sold online. By the first half of 2020, Ghanaian consumers would be able to make payments for goods and services purchased online by the PayPal accounts. It is now up to us, the Bank of Ghana, GIBS, banks, fintechs, telcos, and merchants to make this happen within the time frame, and also to prepare ourselves for the opportunities it presents. I will ask GIBS to put together a working group of stakeholders to work to implement this roadmap. This presents exciting opportunities for Ghana, and we should take full advantage of it.
The Vice President also mentioned that the mobile interoperability system will be fully operational when the eSwitch card is linked to the bank accounts and mobile money wallets.
However, I have 2 more aspects of interoperability that we have to complete in the next 2 months. And this is what we call the second phase. So phase 2 of interoperability will complete the financial inclusion triangle. Because the triangle is to make sure that eSwitch, mobile accounts, and bank accounts, that those form the triangle, eSwitch, mobile accounts, and bank accounts, that you have a seamless interoperability between the 3. That is where we want to move. So phase 2 of the interoperability platform will complete the financial inclusion triangle by allowing the movement of monies between and among telcos, banks, and eSwitch accounts in a seamless manner.
Mobile money interoperability is the service that allows direct and seamless transfer of funds from one mobile money wallet to another across networks.
Now, business leaders from Ghana and Nigeria have met at the Maiden Gangeria Conference to explore ways of deepening bilateral trade between the 2 economic powers in West Africa. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia called on Nigeria to open up its economy to more liberal trade ties with Ghana. Charles Aite reports.
The Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, was addressing the maiden edition of Gangeria Rising 2018 conference in Accra. He said Ghana and Nigeria would have to speed up trade collaborations to achieve mutual economic growth.
Nigeria will remain an important country and friend, and our government will make the utmost effort to continue to create a supporting environment for Nigerian-owned businesses to grow and thrive. And let us build and strengthen platforms for engagements between the private sector and governments. On behalf of His Excellency, the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and on behalf of the people of Ghana, I once again say to our brothers and sisters from Nigeria, welcome to Ghana. Please spread the word around. We are open for business. We are open to create wealth. We are open for risk takers and innovative thinkers, young and old. We are open to expand opportunities for inclusive growth so we can create jobs, improve livelihoods, and tackle poverty.
The conference discussed various initiatives by both governments to address the barriers of trade, business and investment climates in the two countries and propose ways to accelerate them. The Vice President said he believes both governments must leverage the positive economic indicators of their respective countries in new trade partnerships.
We should do something among ourselves better. We should move the economy of the two countries, which is the engine power of the economic community of West Africa, to a higher life. We discuss in conferences, we take the same stand in the international community. Nigerian Ghana's in peace and peacekeeping operation is rated so high, but we are not doing so well. Nigeria diversified a lot, just like the last speaker spoke about. We all are both agri, business, climate, system situations. Nigeria currently produces about 80% to 85% of the rice we consume in Nigeria. In the last 2 or 3 years, we used to have just about 3-4 million rice farmers. Currently, we have about 12 million rice farmers in Nigeria. When we want to talk in terms of millet, we are second to the US. To sorghum, we are third to India. In terms of yam and cassava, we are the best in the world. So where are we sitting down and we are not doing a lot among ourselves? So I don't want us to, at the end of this conference, to come in with a lot of MOU, with a lot of agreement, with a lot of theory, a lot of Google information on the internet. Point upon ourselves and nothing will happen. I think we move to a platform where we can do business together and move the two economies to a greater height.
Meanwhile, Nigerian High Commissioner to Ghana, Olufemi Abikoye, blamed the poor trade collaboration between Ghana and Nigeria on what he describes as a lack of trust between both countries. The High Commissioner says both countries are losing billions of dollars in trade to other powerful countries like China. The Ghana-Nigeria conference also comes in the wake of growing concerns regarding the protectionist approach that the Nigerian economy takes on when it comes to trade ties between neighboring countries, as well as specific impediments to trade liberalization agreements between Ghana and Nigeria. I'm Charles Aite in Accra.
Government is developing a national entrepreneurship policy to reaffirm its commitment towards putting young entrepreneurs at the center of business. The policy will provide guidelines for entrepreneurship and ways to provide sustainable support funds. Now, Minister for Business Development Mohammed Awal says the policy will be launched in August during a meeting with entrepreneurs in Kumasi. Principia reports.
Reverend Dr. Ayete Nyampong says a multi-sectoral approach to such policy would empower graduates and other youth to start their own businesses.
Let me therefore take this opportunity to appeal to government also to come out with a national youth entrepreneurship policy to enhance entrepreneurship activities among young people of this country as a way of solving the high rate of unemployment in Ghana. And I believe that this policy will be cardinal in addressing the numerous impediments that frustrate youth enterprise development efforts. And also, it will overcome the phenomenal growth in the youth and graduate unemployment.
He is worried many Ghanaians are falling prey to fake gospel perpetuated by some ministers of the gospel. Reverend Dr. Ayete Nyampong wants the youth to resist such attempts to manipulate them.
And I charge you to exercise great care in what you hear and believe in these last days. More than ever before, there are too many preachers of the fake gospel. They deliberately twist and distort the word of God to suit their fancy and selfish ends. Their gospel is according to their needs. They neither know Jesus of Calvary nor have anything in common with the Apostolic Church.
The 5-day meeting was under the theme Empowered to Influence Our Generation. Alfred Appiah is chairperson of the Committee on Youth Ministry to the Safe Presbyterian Youth and Students Assembly 2017. He charged the youth to support government in its fight against illegal mining or galamsey. Reporting for JoyNews, Kwesi Deborah.
And we'll still stay in the Ashanti region for more news. Cooperative credit unions will soon be able to compete favorably with commercial banks under an ambitious plan. Now, this is a plan to embark on a publicity drive to make member groups more visible and vibrant in national economic growth. Chairman of the Ghana Cooperative Credit Unions Association, Dr. Charles Anani, predicts a brighter future for members. Ohim Interior has the story.
Credit unions are groups of people with a common interest to mobilize funds and advance credit to members. Out of over 400 unions registered nationwide by the Bank of Ghana, Greater Accra in the Ashanti regions account at least for half. Regulated under the Legislative Instrument 225 of 2008, credit unions are trusted, reliable and alternative financial service providers for low-income earners. At the commissioning of the office complex of the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital Credit Union, Dr. Anani gave details on how to make unions more competitive.
Slow as of now, but now we are thinking about going all out with big billboards and then other advertisements in tandem with other commercial banks and rural banks. So we are also going to come out with it and then making sure we are viable and strong. Once we know that we are strong as a group, as association of cooperative credit unions, who will be able to fight or be aligned with those people, rural banks and commercial banks. I am the chairperson for the whole of Africa, Ghana, and so I'm determined to make credit unions very strong and viable. And it's simple. I tell them we want strong credit unions in safe hands, and so we want good managers in taking care of the monies of our members.
CATCU, which was formed 16 years ago, has 3,300 members. It has investment of over 5 million Ghana cedis, 20% above the Bank of Ghana approved ratio, with loan recovery rate of 90%. Chief Executive of CAT, Dr. Ohiniba Owusu-Danso, lost the union for its strides over the years.
What cannot and must not be overlooked on this occasion is the direct and indirect contributions that this credit union has made towards the provision of quality clinical services at the hospital. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, what we should not forget is that a contented workforce is a productive workforce. By providing affordable and customer-friendly financial services to close to over 2,000 members of staff who are members of the union, the CATCU has done a yeoman's job in giving members the peace of mind to concentrate on their core job of caring for the sick.
From Kumasi for Joy Business Report, Ohim Interior reporting.
Turning to other news tonight, some fish farmers are lamenting the high tax on fishing implements as compared with other sectors of agriculture in Ghana. Now, the fisheries sector is estimated to contribute 3% of the total GDP and 5% of the GDP in agriculture. And statistics say about 10% of the country's population is engaged in various aspects of the fishing industry. Fauziatu Adam has more in this report.
Emmanuel Nuseto is a retired public servant turned fish farmer from Asojaman district located in the Volta region.
The system is not friendly because the fish farming in Ghana have just started. It hasn't got the support like how we have crop farmers. We have technical officers going around assisting the farmers, educating them, government subsidizing fishing inputs like farming inputs like fertilizers and that kind of thing. For the fish farm, the feed is not subsidized. You see the reverse, the inputs are taxed, so which makes the feed cost very high. And then once the feed forms greater part of the production cost, you see that you produce at a higher cost. In the market too, you cannot control it.
Just like other businesses with risk, the fishing business is not different. Nusito tells me about the challenges he faces as a fish farmer.
You first must understand the business, the risks involved, like stealing of the fish, stealing of the feed. Feed costs about 80% of the production cost. So if somebody is able to divert your feed and the fish don't eat because you have now confined them, and if you don't give them food, they will not grow. And the risk is that you cannot see if they are not growing, you cannot easily see it because they are in the water until you harvest.
He highlighted labor as the main problem for fisher folks in the rural areas due to high illiteracy rate.
And the labor, because the illiteracy rate, those who, the fish local people that we use, they are mostly illiterate, and so when you come, they want to take they think you have money, you don't know where to spend it, and you brought it, because they don't have the education. And employing a university graduate is also a problem. And then that graduate knowing about how to swim and deal with the fish is a problem. So you normally have to use the local boys.
Technology also plays a vital role in the fishing business. It helps reduce the depletion of the environment.
There's a technology that you use to smoke it without the smokes coming out. I don't have it, but some people have it. Somebody talked to me about it. Some man also he's also a fish farmer. He told me that is what he used to do in US. But that place, the cost of capital is very low, so he was able to access a loan and was doing it. And he intended to do it here, but for now he's into the farming, he's not smoking.
On how much profit he makes, Nusset gives the amount invested and the profits made.
Because I buy, I see the cost. So if maybe sometimes I can buy about 10,000, 12,000
Ghana cedis.
But then I can get about 2,000 net profit. The gross profit can be around 3,000. I take overhead costs and I make 2,000. Sometimes too, I don't make the 2,000, but it's a weekly matter. So if each week I'm able to get even 1,000 Ghana cedis, I'm still in business.
Ghana in 2016 imported $135 million worth of fish because of the reduction of the country's fish stock. According to Food and Agriculture Organization, Ghana's current total fish consumption is 1 million metric tons, whereas the country produces about 400,000 tons. It imports up to 600,000 tons of fish worth over $200 million per annum. Fawzeto Adam, Joy Business.
Well, headed next for our interview of the day, the IMF has confirmed that the country's program with the fund would finally be completed by the end of April 2019. Now, this after some reports, initial reports, questioned government's December ending timeline. But the visiting IMF boss for Africa, Abebe Selassie, has been explaining to Joy Business why government's end-of-year projection was not wrong.
Right now, what I can tell you is that policies have been moving in the right direction, and the government is committed to continue to improve on this more still, and I think that's what we're looking at.
The economists will say that all other things being equal, when is this program going to end, that we can see that we have completed the program, not the technical completion, but the final completion that Ghana has closed the book on this program?
Well, you know, the last performance test date, as we call it, is end of December. So a few weeks after that, the program should be done.
What about the review by the staff? And
that's what I mean. If somebody,
what about the April 2019 date that we're hearing initially?
You know, so what typically happens is following the test date, there is a period to allow for the data to come out to show what the numbers have done, and also to go to the board. So effectively, though, the program basically, in terms of monitoring and the test date, it's end December.
Ghana is on the market to raise the 2.5 billion cedi euro bond. I knew initially the fund had some concerns. Have those concerns been addressed now, and can they go ahead? I mean, they are going to raise this weekend. I mean, this Thursday.
When in discussing the program, in discussing policies with the government of Ghana, the focus really is on the fiscal balance, the fiscal deficit. How you finance that deficit then is, up to the government to a large extent. So, provided kind of the fiscal deficit targets are being adhered to, okay, there's options to finance that deficit either by domestic borrowing or external borrowing. The government has indicated that it wants to do Eurobond issuances to try and reduce also the cost of financing, to take advantage of the favorable external market conditions. So the key, though, in terms of debt sustainability really is continuing to reduce the fiscal deficit, continuing to run the primary surplus that the government just last year achieved, continuing to do well on that front is the key, and that over time should allow debt levels to go down.
And that'll be it for tonight's program. Remember that all the news you need is on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. We've got the latest stories from today. GRA is set to impose tax stamps on textiles. Also, economist Professor Peter Quartey forecasting that the One District, One Factory could cut food prices. And the latest from the Ghana Stock Exchange, intravenous infusion seeking 5.5 million Ghana cedis from the capital market. All those stories plus our bulletins, just in case you missed out on any one of them. My name is Darryl Kwao. We'll be back same time tomorrow.